Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Salam Malaysia Madani to all the viewers and all our panelists today. Burung merpati terbang tinggi, hinggap sebentar di pohon jati. Ilmu dicari setiap hari, membina insan berilmu sejati. This pantun reminds us the pursuit of knowledge is a continuous journey. As education continues to develop, to grow, we must be willing to explore the different approaches of education to improve learning, also teaching. I am Nur Eliani Adila, will be your moderator for today's forum discussions. Traditional learning versus blended learning, a comparative study, which is the chosen topic of today's forum discussions. Education has always adapted according to the needs of society. For many years, traditional face-to-face learning has become the main approach used in the classroom. However, with the rapid development of technology, blended learning has been increasingly popular among the education systems, which is combining physical interactions and also digital learning platforms. This development has created the discussions between teachers and also among the students. Traditional learning offers good physical interactions and engaging in the classroom, while blended learning offers flexibility and also the wide access of learning resources. Therefore, today's forum will explore both approaches, traditional learning, also blended learning, by discussing the definitions, advantages, challenges, comparisons, and also the future possibilities. To discuss the topic further, I am joined by pretty and smart panelists here. So let me introduce one by one to you guys. Our first panelist is Ms. Nurazin Ahmad. Our second panelist is Ms. Juliana. Our third panelist is Ms. Siti Nurjana. Since our two panelists cannot join our recording for today, I would like to mention the names too. The third panelist is Ms. Nur Alia Kispina. And the last panelist is Ms. Halviana Grace. So without further delay, let's begin our discussions for today. So let me invite our first panelist, Ms. Nurazin Ahmad, to discuss our first question. So the question is, Ms. Nurazin, traditional learning has been the main approaches of education since for many years. So could you please explain what traditional learning is and share the main strengths and also weaknesses in today's education environment?
Thank you to our pretty moderators for the questions. I will briefly introduce what is traditional learning is. So what is traditional learning? Traditional learning is basically a teacher-centered approach where teacher became the main source of knowledge. So by these learning methods, students will really learning by listening to teacher explanations, taking notes, reading textbooks, and completing assignments. So since it was a teacher-centered approach, that means teachers are the one who control the lessons, decide what they need to learn, and evaluate students through quizzes, assignments, or even an exams. So I guess teacher played the most important role in guiding learning in this traditional learning. So now we will look into the strength and the weakness. I think the strength for me is actually give a direct guidance from teacher to a student. So since it was a face-to-face learning, so when teacher and student in the same classrooms, student can directly ask the teachers questions about what they're confused about. So by that, teacher also can explain again and again about the lesson they learned and demonstrate on the spot about the lesson. So by that, students can avoid misunderstanding and learn the lessons more clearly. Other than that, I think it's actually suitable for practical subjects. Practical subjects as science, literature, or art educations usually involve demonstrations, experiments, and hands-on activities. So by learning these subjects face-to-face, make it easier for students to understand the lesson more better, and by teachers clear instructions, students can enhance their skills directly. But however, there's also a few weaknesses from the traditional learning, which is firstly is limited flexibilities. This happens when student needs to attend the classes at the specific time and at the specific places. So it might be difficult for students who have personal commitments or other schedules to attend the classes, because it's the flexibility is limited. And other than that, I think it's limited access to learning diverse resources. Because since it was teacher-centered approach, so that means it only depends on teacher explanations and textbooks. So it may make students have few opportunities to explore more multimedia resources and exactly. So that's how traditional learning is from my view and from my true understanding. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nur Azlin Ahmad, for your discussions just now. So we can see that traditional learning still play an important role even in nowadays education's environments. However, as technology becomes more integrated into educations, new learning approaches have started to emerge. So this brings us to the next questions. So I bring to you guys our second panelist, Miss Juliana. The question is, could you explain about blending, what is blended learning is, and how this approach differ from traditional learning? Additionally, how does blended learning support students and also students in the process of learning?
Thank you, moderator, for the question. I will explain about blended learning, its key features and its benefits. What is blended learning? Blended learning is a teaching method to combine face-to-face learning and online learning. Students can learn in the classroom with their teachers, and also student learn in the classroom with their lecturer, and also use online platform like Google Classroom and Microsoft Teams to continue the learning. And now let me explain the key features. The first feature is flexibility. Students can study anytime and anywhere to using online learning materials. The second feature is use of technology, such as video, online quizzes, and discussion forum. This tool makes learning more interactive and interesting. Next are the benefits of learning. First, it helps students to manage their learning more effectively. Second, it makes learning more engaging because students can use different online activities to understand the lesson better. Finally, blended learning helps students improve their digital skills, which are important for both their study and future career. To conclude, the blended learning combines classroom learning with online learning. It gives students more flexibility, makes learning engaging, and helps students to become independent learners. Thank you. I will now pass the session to moderator.
Thank you, Ms. Juliana. Based on your explanations, blended learning appears provides advantages of classroom learning with digital technology. However, while technology provides many opportunities, implementing blended learning may not be easy. So therefore, I would like to invite our third panelist, Ms. Siti Nurjana, to discuss about blended learning. Even though blended learning offers many benefits, can you explain what are some challenges that teachers and students may face when adopting to these approaches?
Thank you, moderator, for the questions. And now I like to talk about some of the challenge of implementing blended learning for both teachers and students. First, one of the biggest challenge for teachers is using technologies. Why? Because not every teacher is confident with digital tools or online platforms. And besides teaching in the classroom, they also need to prepare online materials, upload notes, and assignments, and sometimes solve technical problems. This can be stressful, especially for teachers who still learning how to use the technology. Another challenge is the increased workload. Compared to traditional learning, blended learning takes more time to prepare. Teachers need to plan both face-to-face and online activities and create digital resources and also check students' online work. This means they often have more responsibility than before. So for students, one common challenge is staying motivated and managing their own time. Since part of the learning happens online, students need to be responsible for completing their tasks. But however, some students may get distracted by social media and games or other online activities. If they don't manage their time well, they may fall behind in this stuff. So that's all from me.
Thank you, Ms. Nurjana, for your sharing just now. So now let's move towards comparing both approaches and also the future possibilities. Since both of these comparisons and also the future possibilities of these approaches needs to explain by two of our last panelists that cannot physically present here due to the unavoidable schedules conflict, unfortunately. But they also can share their thoughts through pre-record video. So let's watch their presentations.
Assalamualaikum, I'm Nur Alia Christina and I will be talking about real-world examples and a comparison between blended learning and traditional learning with a focus on Malaysia. So, imagine walking into a classroom where students don't just learn from textbooks and lectures. They also watch interactive videos, complete online quizzes, and collaborate through digital platforms. This is known as blended learning, a teaching approach that combines face-to-face instruction with online learning. But how does it compare with traditional learning, and how is it being used in Malaysia? Okay, so for traditional learning is the conventional method where teacher delivers lessons in a physical classroom. Students attend lectures, take notes, and complete assignments on paper, and interact directly with teachers and classmates. This approach has several strengths. It provides structured schedule, immediate feedback, and strong face-to-face communication. Many students benefit from the classroom environment, where teachers can easily monitor participation and provide guidance. However, traditional learning also has limitations. Learning often depends on classroom time, and students who miss lessons may struggle to catch up. It also offers fewer opportunities for personalized and self-paced learning. Moving on is blended learning. Blended learning combines classroom teaching with digital tools and online resources. Students can learn both inside and outside the classroom using learning management systems, educational apps, videos, and online discussions. In Malaysia, blended learning became especially important during the COVID-19 pandemic. Schools and universities rapidly adopted platforms such as Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, and Moodle to continue education remotely. Even after school reopened, many institutions continued using this platform to distribute notes, conduct quizzes, and support collaborative learning. For example, many Malaysian universities now upload lecture recordings before class so students can study the material in advance. Before class, so students can study the material. Classroom time is then used for discussions, problem-solving activities, and group projects instead of lengthy lectures. This method encourages active participation and deeper understanding. So for the comparison between blended learning and traditional learning in Malaysia is how do these two approaches compare? So traditional learning emphasizes direct interaction and classroom routine. It is effective of maintaining discipline, building communication skill, and providing immediate support from teachers. Blended learning, on the other hand, offers greater flexibility. Students can review lessons anytime, revisit difficult topics, and learn at their own pace. Teachers can also monitor student progress through online assessment and provide more personalized feedback. Now we're at the conclusion. Education continues to evolve alongside technology. In Malaysia, blended learning is becoming an important part of modern education by combining the strength of traditional teaching with flexibility of digital learning. That's all from my part. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I'm Helvina Grace and I will conclude our discussions by sharing the features of blended learnings and why it is important. As technologies continues to grow, blended learning is becoming an important part of education. It combines face-to-face teachings with online learning, allowing students to enjoy both direct interactions with teachers and the flexibilities of learning anytime and everywhere. At the same time, it helps students develop important digital and independent learning skills for their futures. To make blended learning successful, schools should provide reliable internet access and digital devices, while teachers should receive continuous trainings to use technology effectively. Students also need to be responsible, manage their time well, and stay motivated in both online and classroom learning. In conclusion, traditional learnings provide direct communications and classrooms interaction, while blended learnings offer flexibilities and personalized learning. By combining the strengths of both approaches, educators can create a more effective and engaging learning environment. Thank you for your intentions. We hope these discussions have given you a better understanding of blended learnings and its role in the futures of education. That's all from me. Thank you.
So that is the presentation from both of our last panelists. Before we end our forums today, I would like to have a short interactive discussions amongst our panelists here. So there's two questions I would like to ask. So the first question is, do you guys think blended learning will replace traditional learning completely in the future, or should both approaches continue to exist together? Yeah, I would like any of you guys to share your opinions.
Okay, so I would like to answer your questions. So I think, for me personally, I don't think blended learning will completely replace traditional learning. Instead, I believe both should continue to exist together because each has its own strengths. And blended learning offers flexibility, while traditional learning provides more face-to-face interaction and immediate support from teachers. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your brilliant answer, Ms. Siti Nurjana. So our second and last question is, what is the most important factor in making blended learning successful? Whether technology, teacher readiness, student motivations, or institutional support, and why?
I would like to share my point of view and thoughts from the questions. I think the answer is teacher readiness, because of course technology, student motivations, and institutional support are all important. But for me, teachers are the one who need to connect all this together. What I mean is, teacher needs to combine all these elements together and conduct it in the classrooms. So from my point is, teacher needs to well prepare with the technologies effectively, create engaging lessons, motivate students, and even adjust their teaching based on student learning needs. For example, even a school have excellent technology, blended learning won't be effective if the teacher don't know how to use those tools confidently. By the other hand, if teachers are well prepared and ready, they'll be able to create a better learning environment and learning experience. So let's conclude that teacher readiness is the foundation of successful in blended learning. So that's my thoughts and my point of view from the questions.
Thank you everyone for your thoughtful answer. So our discussions today has shown that education is not about choosing between traditional learning or blended learning. Instead, it is about understanding how both approaches can work together to create meaningful learning experiences. Interestingly, today's forum itself demonstrates an element of blended learning. Although two of our panelists cannot join us physically and present here, technology has enabled them to contribute through a pre-recorded video, allowing us to continue our discussions without compromising our collaborations. So as we come to the end of today's forums, I would like to conclude that we have learned both traditional learning and blended learning have their own strengths, weaknesses, and challenges. Rather than viewing them as competing approaches, we believe they can complement one another to create a more flexible, engaging, and effective learning environment. On behalf of my group members, I would like to sincerely thank you to everyone who watching this video for your times and attentions. I am Nur Eliana Hila, your moderator for today's forum discussions. Thank you again and enjoy your wonderful day.